Today's story was written by Reddit user, Teller of Tall Tales. Calvin yawned and stretched in the comfy turret seat. Rubbing his eyes, he checked the video feed and froze, unable to process the image on the screen. A force, easily 10,000 strong of various species, lay keeled over and dead in the snow, less than 1,000 yards away from the walled dome. Their armoured vehicles shattered to bits as though they'd been frozen, then hit with a sledgehammer. Calvin panned the turret across the quiet battlefield. Eventually his vision landed on a single combatant that was still alive. Shivering, not from cold it appeared, but fear of the statue wrought from ice before him. Without a second thought, Calvin triggered the alarm. Gretch sat in the blessedly warm interrogation room, unable to forget the terrifying sequence of events from last night. The human interrogator sat across from the small goblin-like alien, making them flinch. The interrogator curiously looked at the alien before asking her main question. "What happened last night? Your entire force was obliterated without us hearing or seeing anything." Gretch looked at the human woman in horror, then the lone soldier in the corner that no one else seemed to acknowledge. Gretch pointed at the human soldier, who grinned menacingly. "Him. He took us all out. I swear he isn't human. He had a fucking dragon at his side. Get him away from me." The memories came rushing back. That humble, terrifying grin. The rifle that never seemed to run empty nor make any sound. How bullets and lasers simply passed through the lone human as he kept advancing. The human interrogator turned to look at the indicated corner, seeing nothing and no one. Perhaps the subject across from her may not be mentally sound. Frowning, the interrogator asked, "Can you start from the beginning? Tell me what happened from the point you arrived until we brought you in." Gretch took a deep breath, trying to ignore the spectre in the corner. Okay. We were hired by the Gravlostic Mining Company to run you off the planet." Gretch marched at the front of the formation, locked in step with his brothers and sisters of the Smashgrab Mercenary Company. The domed wall of the town Frostgardia lay glittering around 10,000 yards ahead of them. The wind blew, kicking up a flurry of snow that obscured their vision of the wall for a moment. When the wind settled, a lone human stood guard halfway between them and the wall. Gretch raised a fist, bringing the company to a halt. Looking up at the turrets atop the outer wall, he noticed that all of them were still inactive. A message from the company commander buzzed in through his earpiece. "What's the hold-up, Gretch?" Gretch watched in confusion as a furred creature bolted through the hard light barrier that marked the city's gate and came to the lone human's side. Clearing his throat, Gretch keyed his mic. "There's a human and their dog, or something, standing in our way. I've got a bad feeling about this, boss. Turrets aren't even active." Raucous laughter assailed Gretch's ears as his commanding officer clearly didn't see how suspicious this was. However, Gretch's commander's laughter stopped abruptly as the wind picked up again. "Turn back." The ghostly words were as quiet as a whisper, yet they were heard loud and clear by everyone. Gretch heard his earpiece click and his commander's voice came through with a bit of a waver to it. "You heard that right?" "Yes, sir, we should turn back." A pause that stretched on far too long. No, continue with the mission. There's a lot of credits on the line here." Gretch nodded and waved the forces forward. The lone soldier sighed, placing a hand on the furred creature's head before unslinging the rifle on their back. The wind howled as it blew with a renewed fury. The words carried within a shout. "So be it. Face the Frostguard." A roar split the heavens as the furred creature suddenly started to grow, and grow, and grow. The creaking of stretching bone and skin reaching the now advancing forces. The beast's fur went from a light brown to pure ice white, as massive wings unfurled from the beast's body. Shouts of surprise and apprehension rose from the mercenary company. One merc, who had an ATGM launcher, knelt down and took aim at the massive furred beast as it began to charge towards them, oblivious to the lone human who'd raised their rifle. There wasn't a single crack, pop, or bang as the back of the merc's head flowered open. The soldier behind them ripped in half with a scream being the only sound accompanying the carnage. Gretch felt his legs go limp and crumpled just as the massive beast tore through their ranks, a razor-sharp claw passing inches from his pointed ears. Viscera flew, tanks and APCs were frozen solid by the beam of blue energy from the beast's mouth, before being shattered with a casual swipe of its claws. The lone human advanced a step and fired, the only sound from the discharge being the damage it caused, each silent shot sending body parts flying and turning blood into a fine mist, screams and shouts of terror erupting around Gretch's prone form. After only a few minutes, it grew quiet. Gretch dared not move in case whatever this frost guard thing wasn't done yet. After a few minutes, Gretch uncovered his eyes and sat up, looking at the carnage of what had once been a proud mercenary company. Then he turned around and screamed like a little human girl as he saw the statue of ice in front of him, depicting that softly smiling, silently shooting soldier. He stayed there until he was cuffed and brought into the city for interrogation. The interrogator looked at the goblin-like alien in front of her, eyes wide with genuine terror, just now noticing the sound of claws scratching at the interrogation room's door. Pressing a button, the door swooshed open, letting in the beige-coloured furred dragon. Gretch took one look at the German Shepherd-sized beast before his eyes rolled into the back of his head and he passed out. The interrogator's brow furrowed. Then she looked down at the town's local mascot, Fuzzy the furred dragon, and gasped. Burn marks seared the furred dragon's nigh indestructible fur. Pulling a piece of dried meat from her treat pouch, she fed it to the good boy, saying, "That goblin seems to be really afraid of you, boy." The furred dragon's tail wagged as it chewed on the treat. Unbeknownst to the interrogator, Commander Slate rubbed his best and longest friend's head, making kissy noises and giving him praise, speaking aloud despite the fact that no one but the dragon would hear him. "She doesn't know the half of it, isn't that right, boy?" The furred dragon gave a soft woof in agreeance. He liked being in his adult form instead of this limiting juvenile one. He had a freezy breath as an adult. Slate chuckled, rubbing the furred dragon's cheeks. "I gotta get back to my post, buddy. Keep an eye on everyone for me." And with a goodbye pat between Fuzzy's ears, he walked through the wall, the snowy winds no longer nipping at his skin as he exited within each and every one. Slinging his rifle back over his shoulder, he smiled as he saw the Reaper approaching. This time he didn't keep up the act. "Commander Slate, shall I?" "Nope, I'm good. Come see me when both me and my friend can go." The Grim Reaper paused, jaw agape. Then, with a chuckle, the Reaper's face transformed into that of a young boy. "Very well, Frost Guardian. I will see you then." And with a gust of wind, the Reaper was gone, leaving a smiling, ghostly guardian to watch over the city.